With this season comes a time to explore Empress energy and maybe what that means for you. And one of the people that I've come to know over the years here at the Sisters Enchanted, who definitely like these days is really radiating, I think, like some energy that needs to be talked about. Our friend Kelly Sroka. We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, Kelly.
Well, thank you so much. It is always a pleasure to be here, and especially to talk about tarot, which I love.
Yeah. Yes. Kelly, why don't you tell the listeners more about you? And, you're a tarot reader, you're a tarot coach, you've got all this great experience. Who is
Yes,
Kelly
I
Soroka?
I am a retired homeschool mom, I like to say, and I have three adult children now, and they're all off doing their own things in the world. And so I'm really taking this time for myself to do things that interest me. And one of the things that helped me kind of through this transition has been learning tarot and reading tarot for myself and reading for others. And so I just kind of naturally became a tarot reader, and through Sisters Enchanted became a tarot coach. And so that is what my that's really interesting me right now. I do also astrology and Reiki and crystals and all of those things, but my definite first love is tarot.
Everybody has a first love that gets them into everything else.
Yes, hmm definitely.
Mine was tarot also. Um, okay, we're going to talk today about expansion archetypes a little bit, Empress energy, all that good stuff. Kelly, what is your expansion archetype? Do you know?
So I am, yes, and I was very surprised because I am a wanderer. And I think that if I had taken this, a few years ago, I would have definitely been a mapper because I was, running a farm and a household and homeschooling and all of these things. So I think I definitely was a mapper, and that was my second one. And I think it has to do with my Capricorn moon that I have the mapper. But I do have an Aries sun and a Sagittarius rising, so I do have that kind of like um more Aries energy and Sagittarius energy. And I've always known that I was an Aries. And so I always knew that, I kind of was impatient, like to get things done. But now that I found a lot more about Sagittarius, I can see how that wanderer comes in, that I really like to explore. I like to take classes and I like to learn new things. And I like, just to expand. And so that wanderer energy really fits me right now, especially doing all the learning and new things that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, I get that as a Sagittarius.
Yeah.
that that wander and I'm a wanderer. So it goes, I feel like definitely some hand in hand energy there with that just doing things, discovering things, learning, exploring. Lots to be seen in there. Uh would you okay, so you're a wanderer. The theme that we are talking about this season and right now is Empress energy. And I know that you talked about this with Sarah Milne, who is part of our team here at the Sisters Enchanted, and in our Stay Magic Ostara edition digital magazine. That's a really long sentence and way to describe that. But I know that you talked about Empress energy there. What, what does Empress energy, mean to you? And I guess I would love to know. All right, let me back up because we talk about all these things, right? Your archetype, embodying Empress energy, and it's all this separate stuff. So you're an Aries sun, you're Sagittarius rising, you're a wanderer. Like you have this, what is Empress energy? It's just all separate. But how can you put it together, And what does Empress energy mean to you? And how does being a wanderer, does that feel like Empress energy to you? Or does it feel like, not Empress energy? How does that go in your head?
Yeah, to me, the wanderer energy, I think, is that you're just wanting to learn things new. And it can be it can be overwhelming because you just want to do all the things and just do, everything. And, a lot of times I have to say no to things that I really want to do because just of time, I just don't have the time to do everything. So bringing that in, the Empress is very, to me, she feels very grounded. She feels very earthy. And I think that's really good to to kind of balance that wander energy, because she's like saying, okay, you can be abundant, you can be creative, but you also have to ground it in something. You have to ground it in this, um, what you can fit into your time period and what is really going to be the most, the best for you in this time period. And so, bringing it kind of works together with having that wonder and just being able to do, but also bringing it in and focusing in with that Empress energy, because she's going to be very focused and she's going to be very particular about where she gives her time, because she knows that to be able to grow something, you have to give it time, you have to give it attention. And if you're always, just planting something and leaving it, then it's really not going to bring you the things that you really want to bring into your life. So that to me is how the wander, how I can really embrace the wander energy, but also integrate the Empress energy, which I love too, the creativity and the abundance all together.
Yeah. It's, I just realized that it's such an interesting thing because we're talking about the Empress with springtime, right? And spring energy. And in the way we teach what we teach, Wanderer is a spring energy, but Wanderer can be so distracted. And Empress is so focused on, growth. And I wonder if there's not something to be said though about, I don't know, maybe like just the confidence of the Empress too in being who that person is. And, if you are a little wandery, just owning that, like,
Oh yes, definitely, definitely. Because I when I was growing up and not knowing astrology, and but knowing that I was an Aries, I felt like that, I had to be this, person that was, the life of the party and all these kinds of things. And I am very much an Aries, but I'm also very much my Capricorn moon, and bringing um that in all together and kind of seeing how all of these kind of synthesize together just really makes it, just makes it makes me feel like I'm able to own that Aries and Sagittarius energy more, because I
yeah,
can, I'm grounded and I can see things in focus, but I can also say, oh, this is something that I'd like to try over here, and this is something I'd like to try over here. But then, really bringing it back down and saying, well, is this the right thing to do right now? What is the Empress, kind of that grounding energy, and that, spring and wanting to do the things, how can I really focus all of that energy and it be, because she's about manifestation too, and wanting, what do you really want to bring, and how do you feel about it? And so she's going to bring that energy in too, I think.
yeah. I have a question for you. It's kind of a trick question. It's not a trick
Okay.
question. It's an on the spot question.
Okay.
If, because you are a tarot reader, you're an astrologer, you're also a tarot coach. If somebody had, I don't know, like in one of your sessions and they were feeling really, really stuck and just can't figure out where to go, like feel like no matter what they try to do, nothing works out. And uh, I don't know, there's always something happens that sidetracks them, derails them, and it just feels like they can't do what they want to do in life. And you pulled the Empress for them. Like what would your message be for that person? Told you, I'm putting you on the spot.
Yes. Well, the Empress, I think, and if you study tarot and you know the Empress card, a lot of times the Empress is pregnant. And so that is kind of that symbol of birthing something and bringing something into the world, but it's also a process. And so a person who feels like they're stuck and just can't really bring what it is that they want into the world, then I would kind of push them to say, okay, well, let's take a step back and see what is one thing. And if the Empress came up, then it would, to me, that is a major arcana card. So it's something that they really really want to do, and it's something that they've been working on, and it's not something that maybe holding them back and they're, just kind of about it. It's really something they want to do because the major arcana card came up and it's the Empress. And so I would say, well, let's look at, what is just one particular thing that's holding you back from, bringing this into the world. And it may be just, time in the evening. And so the Empress is like, well, how can we, create some just you time to really focus on that one thing. And it doesn't have to be, a huge thing. And I think that's what trips a lot of people up, is that they get to this point and they think, I really want to do this and it's going to happen overnight. And I just have to take this huge step and it'll happen. And,
Mhm.
but it's all those little steps. And the Empress is really good about that, about kind of focusing and saying, okay, how can we create just this one little bit of time, maybe just once a week for 15 minutes, and put it on your calendar, and then it'll grow from there because you're planting that seed and it's going to grow from there. So it's going to birth and bring forth whatever you want, but it's going to start out small. And just like, anything that you birth into the world, it starts out small and then, it grows, but just making that one little place to start is going to be very helpful and try to get you unstuck from wherever you are.
I love all of that from just one card. Like
Yeah.
one card, the right card at the right time can have such a powerful message.
Oh yes. Yeah, definitely. And it's a great card because there's so much in it and so
Yeah.
much that it can mean.
Yeah, for sure. Whether you're a mapper, a wanderer, an adventurer, a dreamer, or a seer, you're going to learn all about how you both expand, manifest, and contract and sabotage in Magic Week with us here at the Sisters Enchanted. Over a series of 5 days, you'll receive video lessons and supporting material to help you on your journey as you discover your expansion archetype, understand how to step into your magic, understand how to heal the wounds that keep you sabotaging and spiraling downward and downward and downward when you could be spiraling outward and expanding your sacred energy to create the life that you desire to create. It's all happening in our Magic Week program, which kicks off soon. You'll soon know whether or not you're a mapper, a wanderer, an adventurer, a seer, or a dreamer. We're excited to welcome you into Magic Week for sure. All right. One last question
Okay.
before we let you go, or I let you go. Who's we? It's just me over here. One last question for you. Um, like, what would you say to a person? I'm just bringing out like life coach Kelly right now. I don't know where this is coming from because that wasn't the intention, but here we are. To a person who's hearing about this Empress energy, or maybe they read about it in this issue of our digital magazine and they just like don't feel empressy, I think I can relate to this in some way. There's definitely a period of time where I was definitely would just think the word empress and think like flowy dresses and meadows, which isn't necessarily the case, but a person who just can't connect to the word. And I feel like a lot of wanderers might have, I don't know. I guess I could go either way because a wanderer could really be like flitting around, in a in a meadow,
Mm-hmm.
but might also be like eyes on the prize. I don't have time for this Empress stuff, like and a mapper too. I feel like a mapper, Capricorn moon's out there, Kelly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Could feel this.
Mm-hmm.
So like what would you speak to about that? Just a person feeling resistance to the word Empress or the image that comes to mind for them.
Yeah, I think the Empress to me is also about creativity and about how, what in your life um, do you do for creativity that makes you feel good about just to do it. And, it could be anything. And sometimes I think people get stuck on the word creativity because they think, well, I'm not creative because I don't paint or I don't draw. And, creativity is so much more. It can just be, singing a song or cooking a great meal or, something that you just really enjoy just for doing. And so I would say if you're feeling some kind of, feeling like the Empress is, too much or too regal or too, you know, something, and you are feeling that it some kind of resistance to it, then I would think, what it's also about being creative. So what can you do to just do it? And it could be, just sitting down and journaling for 10 minutes, and or reading a poem that you really like or something like that, that just very small, but you just have fun doing it and you just enjoy doing it. And so that can kind of get you into that, Empress energy, because you'll bring in the Empress energy that fits you. And so it won't be some other person's kind of image of what the Empress would be, but it would be your personal Empress coming to you and saying, this is what makes you feel good. This is how you feel creative. And this is how I'm going to come to you in this card and in this way. So
Yeah.
that's how I would address that.
You're so good. Um, Kelly, any last things you wanted to add? This is a shorter podcast, but I love it. Like, I think that talking about the Empress and the Empress card and this wanderer energy. And I love that you mentioned that you think in previous that you would have been a mapper and now you're a wanderer, and not to this degree that one's better than the other, but just how you've changed and how you're seeing it in your astrology too, that Capricorn moon versus now. So many good ways to think about things here, but anything that you wanted to mention that I did not ask you about or bring up?
I don't think so. I think, the Empress energy is just the Empress card is just such a deep card, and it's just such a great way to if you are just starting in tarot, especially, or just getting into any kind of spirituality. I think the Empress card is a really good card to maybe be a companion, something that you can look to, and especially if you want to maybe break out of a cycle, because she's that one that's kind of, pushing you to plant new seeds and pushing you to birth something, but not, not in an overbearing way. She's just there as a companion to help you and to walk along with you and help you as you grow these things. And so I think it's just a really great energy and something to work with. And so if you're just starting out, the Empress might be one card that you want to really study and take in, and especially during Ostara, that season that where the spring is coming and everything is growing, and it can be that what are some things that you've always wanted to plant in your life but you haven't yet, and this could be a way to be that reminder for this time that everything else is growing. So what can you grow personally?
Yeah. So good. Now I'm thinking ahead to what I'm going to grow. I probably need to just slow down with the growing. That's probably what I need to do. But
well, there's always something.
there's always something. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Kelly, if anybody was listening to Kelly just now, is kellysroka.life still where we can find you online?
That's it.
All right, we'll have it linked up, but kellysroka.life. Kelly is also a service provider in our small group mastermind. So you can join and hear from Kelly there. And anybody who's listening who's in there, book in with Kelly. What you waiting for? I think sometimes people get nervous about the like coachy bits, because like, what are you going to call me on is the is the nerve part. But kellysroka.life, and you can find Kelly there and all of her anything that she offers over there as well.
That's it.
That's it. All right. Well, thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate you being here again.
Well, thank you. I just really enjoy it. And I've been enjoying being part of the mastermind and being a service provider. So both have been great. So
we love having
enjoying
it. Love every time I get to talk to you. But anyway. All right. Until next time, we hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead.
If you liked this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it will really help us spread everyday magic, intention, and intuition to the masses and helps us so much as a small business. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. And as always, thank you so much for listening and being part of the community here at the Sisters Enchanted. And we'll see you in the next episode.